Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Ben Kacharis. I'm one of the contributing editors with Christian Standard Magazine, and I'm here on the floor of the North American Christian Convention 2016 with next year's president, my good friend Gene Appeal, who's going to be heading up this massive affair next year in Kansas City. And there's so much buzz about Kansas City.
Yeah.
Tell us about why there's so much extra energy around Kansas City next year as a location.
Yeah, I think two things that are contributing right now. I think, first of all, we're just coming off a great convention in Anaheim, and I think people are sensing God's up to something, and there's something special moving among this tribe of churches and the leaders that we're a part of, and it's like, I want to be a part of that. I need more of that in me. So I think that's part of it. But other just Kansas City's a great city. It's in the heart of America. Huffington Post named it the coolest city in America. Everything's affordable, the food is amazing, the people are nice, water parks, Negro Baseball Hall of Fame, Jazz Hall of Fame, College Basketball Hall of Fame,
and
history
barbecue.
Museums,
and great barbecue.
Unbelievable barbecue. We've been handing out barbecue samples this week at the convention, and that may be why the excitement's so high.
Incentive.
Yeah.
I think people that have been there before are eager to go again to see the changes in the city and what they've done downtown with all of that. Gene, I have the pleasure of serving with a team that has been pulled together through the way the convention organization works on an executive team, and I remember the day that you kind of helped us, steered us to arrive at this theme that I feel like God gave us, and it's a great theme. Tell us about the sort of cohering theme for next year and why you think it's so important, why it excites you.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll just tell you where it started to birth in my heart. Several years ago, we were relocating our church from Fullerton to Anaheim, California. And we were thinking about that very first service that we're going to hold, and what is the value? What's the headline? What's the big idea we want everybody to take away? We're opening this new campus. We've got room for lots more people. What is it? And we really felt like God led us to a theme that has since become a real value in my life, and much more than a theme of a service. But the theme was, this is for everyone. You know, there's a lot of different things you could put out in front of a church to say, a sign, and we just wanted to know, that we think God's heartbeat is for everyone. For God so loves the world. Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Go into all the world, make disciples of all nations, all ethnic groups. And yet we live at a time where many Christians, I think maybe because of a sense of safety, are saying, I'm uncomfortable by those people who are different than me. And different can mean a lot of different things. It may mean they have a different political persuasion than I have. It may mean they live a different lifestyle than I do. It may mean they're different, their sexuality is expressed in different ways than my own. Their skin color is different than my own. And so we end up unintentionally building these walls for people that Jesus died for. And so in Kansas City, we really want to lift back up this value to raise our eyes. Don't get into a protectionist mentality. Don't hide behind our walls. Let's be proactive, offensive, and announce to the world, this is for everyone.
Gal, it's just such, there's so much going on right now that this seems so relevant, and you just got to believe that it's going to still be just sort of hitting on a nerve that we all just are feeling, such polarization and such fear and angst creeping into even the church. So I love this theme. I love the sort of Jesus-centered feel it has. It's going to be awesome, and I'm looking forward to the conference so we can hear a bunch of good preaching on it, and I can take it home and use it in my church. Honestly, it's a great theme.
Prayer, that it will foster the conversations all of us know we need to be having, and not have them in a fearful way, not have them in a protectionist way, but have them in a healthy way that forces a positive kind of tension that we have to wrestle with these things. And really, a lot of people I think these days are discouraged by the landscape that they see. And I look at it just the opposite. I'm challenged by the landscape that we say, for such a time as this, we get to do this and announce to the world, here's the hope.
Yep, and that landscape looks barren to a lot of people, like, oh, it's hopeless, but Jesus always says, boy, the harvest looks plentiful. It's just about the workers and so forth. So that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that tremendously next year. Gene, you are being drawn in as president already to kind of an awareness of what's going on in the whole tribe. This restoration movement fellowship, non-denominational, denominational family of ours. And why do you care? Why is it worth investing so much time and effort and energy, money, prayer from your heart and soul, taken away from your church in certain ways, I suppose?
Yeah.
Why?
That's a great question. And I can come at it from a lot of different angles, but one of is, I was born in this tribe. I grew up in this tribe. I attended my first North American Christian Convention when I was 4 years old and haven't missed many in my, 20 years now?
Yeah,
20, yeah. So, and so there's a nostalgic appreciation for the tribe that I come from. And I've also, in the course of my adult life and ministry, I've had the opportunity to minister and move in circles beyond our tribe and outside of what has been traditional our tribe. And what I've learned is everybody's got a tribe, no matter who they are in Christendom. We all have a place that we hang our hat somewhere. We all have a place that we belong. And there's a lot of great Christian tribes in the world, but I really love this one. And I love what we stand for. I love this whole non-denominational Christianity that we're a part of. And I really feel like that much of the Christian world, evangelical world, has started to embrace and practice the values that we've held up for a long time. And when we see things happening like the Exponential Church Planting Conference that crosses many different Christian groups and denominational groups, but that was birthed out of people from our tribe. And you just see the wide impact that's having. And you see examples like that, you say, wow, our tribe is really having influence. And this has been the tribe just on a personal level, Ben, that like when I've gone through crises or heartbreaks or tough times in my life, this is where I have felt an arm around the shoulder. And that's personal, when you get there. This is the tribe that loves me. This is the tribe that cares about me. And so I have this passion to say, if there's any other guys out there who's been through seasons where they've been hurting, man, I want them to know there's a tribe, they're going to put their arms around you. I want to be one of those guys that's going to put their arms around you. You do not have to do this alone. We're in this together. So there's that personal aspect of it, that you're not in this alone. But then I think there's the wider visionary aspect of it, that to say, what could we do together that would really move the needle for God's kingdom to come on earth as it is in heaven, that none of us could do by ourselves. And I fundamentally really believe we're better together.
Yeah. Man, so many important things in there. I had a young guy who's in ministry a while ago, kind of disillusioned with Christian church stuff. Honestly, I think he was just trying to sort of feel his own way, he kind of grew up in this tribe. And he says, I get kind of my stuff. I get teaching from Catalyst and, these things, which are obviously these great conferences. And he was getting that feeding. He went through a rough time. And he said to me, you know what? No one from Catalyst called me to help me through. So I got great content there. But I think that idea of everyone has a tribe is so important. And to embrace the one you have with all of its beauty but flaws, but just say, man, this is a gift that God's given us to leverage. So
every tribe has their flaws. There's no perfect out there. And on balance, I really love our tribe.
Yeah. Hey, one of the things that you have done for our tribe is give an example of a flourishing church. You went to Eastside, your most recent church, kind of returned full circle, where you were an intern back when you were a punk, and with Ben Merrill back in the day. Now you're back there since 2008. So it's been a little run here now, but so much has happened, so much phenomenal growth. And this guy's watching going, man, how did that happen? And I bet you've been asked this a few times. What can you say for us, no matter where we're leading, what we're doing, that you've kind of learned as you've stepped back and seen what God has done with incredible change, lots of growth? What have you learned as a leader, and that you would encourage anyone else kind of watching in here about what you guys have learned on your journey at Eastside with what God has done there?
Yeah, wow, that's a big question.
It is.
There's a lot we could talk about. But I think the starting place was just what starts in the heart of a leader. It'd be one thing to say, how can we turn the church around? But if in my heart, I don't have a heart for the people of the community where I live, the people that are in my neighborhood, etc. I think when you start with the right burden and the right heart, that doesn't solve everything, but it does send you in the right direction and the right trajectory. And so, you know, that's where I always just kind of challenge leaders a little bit. What are you doing just to grow your own evangelistic heart, to love your neighbors, and so, you know, before you can fire anybody else up to do that, it's kind of got to start in
being
the heart
on
of
your
a
own
leader.
journey and letting Jesus lead you there.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, and then, you know, I mean, then I think churches have to start having conversations about why are we here and where are we going, and you know, nobody's excited about changing anything unless they're dissatisfied with the way things are. So we have to have some honest conversations. You know, what is really going on here? And when I came to Eastside, this church that had a great history, the year that I arrived, they had 56 baptisms that year. Now, I know that's like the day of Pentecost and probably the majority of churches out there. But in our setting, at the time we were a church of 1,900 people. We're in a 5.8 million people live within 20 miles of us. I'm thinking, wow, the opportunity God's given us to steward in the field He's called us to, in just kind of a proportional standpoint, I think heaven wants us to do better than that. And so we had to start talking honestly about that. Are we satisfied with that? Do we think that's what honors God? And honestly, most of those 56 people were, you know, the children and family members of our existing church. We really weren't reaching beyond ourselves very far. So we had to tell the reality, what's really going on, and then start creating a path for where we want to be. And I think a lot of times when I talk to a lot of young idealistic leaders, they dream so far out ahead and so big that nobody can embrace it because it just doesn't even seem achievable. And so I always encourage leaders, if you're going to have a vision, you know, make sure the first few steps appear like, with us a stretch, that they're achievable for us, because then people can get on board.
It's out there, but we can do this.
Yeah.
It's got to be kind of believable.
And then once you start to see some fruit from that, it builds your courage to take some bigger steps in the next round, the next circle.
Well, you certainly have done a great job of, a lot of you know Gene has actually written the book on change. He's got a book on change, but has demonstrated that kind of capable leadership there at Eastside. All right, we're going to wrap up here. I'm going to give you a phrase, and I want you to do kind of, this is free form. I want like one sentence out of you.
Feels like Barbara Walters or something going on here.
I want you to give us something concrete that's sort of like, this is something I believe in my core, that it's really cool, that I want real practical stuff. Ready?
Okay.
Here we go. Raising and releasing volunteers. Give me one thought on raising and releasing volunteers that everybody in a church setting should know or believe or do.
Don't make the ask too low. Ask high.
Okay.
People want to be challenged. So don't say, a lot of times we're afraid to challenge them and we say no before we give them the chance to say no.
All right, raise it up. Next one. The place of preaching today in today's church. The place of preaching. What do you think about that?
It will never change. It will always be central to the proclamation of the gospel. It's the preaching of good news that brings people to faith.
Global mission. I want to reach my community, but what about global mission? What do you think?
Release the church globally and enable indigenous people to move the gospel forward where they live. How can you partner and help them?
Both and, yeah. Minnesota.
God's country.
All right, man.
Love you.
Thank you, Gene. Gene Appeal, 2017 president from North American Christian Convention here in Anaheim. Thanks for being with us. God bless.
Thanks, everybody.